Hey there everyone, welcome back to another Game Vault video. As always, I'm Captain Beefy with the Game Vault. We're going to talk about some news running around within the gaming industry today. A couple little stories. We're going to lead off with some more stuff about Stellar Blade, of course, so let's cue up the music and we'll get right to it. Alright, so Mark Kern, aka Grums on Twitter, calls for the FBI to investigate Twitch streamer Denims after she raises bounty on his head to $30,000. Yeah, that's what happened. So he's been working on this situation here, this petition and so forth, to get Stellar Blade restored to what was advertised before it was released and censored before it was released. He's doing so for the right reasons. There's a lot of people out there that are going to gaslight you and make fun of people who are part of this Free Stellar Blade campaign. But what these people don't realize is by pushing against it, they're defending bad business practices from gaming companies. And we already see gaming companies have enough horrible business practices, right? Well, here's another one, is false advertising. For whatever reason, to advertise something and then to give something else different is absolutely wrong. And that's exactly what happened here with Shift Up and Sony. A lot of people think it was Sony that pushed it, because it was just a straight Asian woman that looked sexy. Now if she was trans or if she was lesbian or something like that, there's a lot of people that think, myself included, that think they would have been fine with it because of stuff like Baldur's Gate 3 and The Last of Us Part 2 and all this other nonsense that's out there, all this other woke garbage that's being released. And, the game developers are out there yelling about it. They're putting down people like me that look like me because I am a straight white male. The evil demographic that everybody hates, but that the foundation of the gaming industry and the future of it has been built upon. Guys like me. Sorry. I hate to tell you that if you don't want to hear it, but that's the way it is. Let's check out that petition. Last I looked at it yesterday, I think it was I think it was somewhere around the 50s, right? Today, yeah, we're up over 60. We're going for a goal of 75 now. Another 7,000 joined up today. That's fantastic. But yeah, it was Denims that asked for, here's our original guy, Tone Man, whose account disappeared. 20K to anyone that makes this dipshit disappear. And during a live stream, Denims said the same thing, but now it looks like her posts are protected because, shucks. We say these things and then we feel scared because people combat us and, and there's repercussions, so we protect ourselves. I'll go ahead and link this down in the comments below so you can check out this story and you can check out that Park Plays all together. Now, here's something funny that's kind of related to Stellar Blade, in a way, I guess. And that is Farm Folks apologizes for asking for player feedback on its female character physics. So Farm Folks, a third-person life simulator sandbox multiplayer game with an open-world experience, that's a mouthful, apologized for asking its players for feedback regarding physics for its female characters. On April 27th, Farm Folks posted on X, "Alright folks, it's time for some serious game development talk. We're tinkering with character physics in Farm Folks. Burning question. Which version has the perfect breast jiggle physics?" Then they shared 3 different videos with different physics for the female character. A follow-up post stated, "Does anyone want to see what 150% looks like?" So they had 50, 90, and 30. Okay, and they got a lot of backlash, of course, from these clowns, black girl gamers, all the ones that were a part of that brilliant failure, Forspoken, that piece of crap game that Square Enix released back in, was it early 2023? Excuse me, and it just absolutely crapped the bed. It was so horrible. One of the most despicable main characters in gaming history. Absolutely horrible graphics. The dialogue was disgusting. It was just absolutely terrible game. But black girl gamers, hey man, they put their fingers all over it. So, That game actually closed the studio down. It was that bad. But yeah, here's Black Girl Gamers. This ain't it. As you can imagine, boobs are a sensitive subject, especially since women have been subject to a lot of vitriol in gaming lately, and the latest discourse regarding sexualization of characters. If this is indeed has body positivity intention, and in future it might be worth changing the whatever, probably the way they worded it, right? Additionally, if your bio disclosed that the game is meant to be an adult farming simulator, then that might curb people's reactions to this post a little bit. So, yeah, they got a whole butt hurt. And then, Jonas Riley here says, good to know what game to avoid in the future. If I was a woman and I wouldn't feel safe with you. I got bad news for you, Jonas. You probably shouldn't feel safe. Caroline. Other people just shared their opinions and all that. It's and of course there was the obligatory apology, where we want everyone to feel included in games development, so reevaluating how to best interact with the community, and yada yada. Your input is instrumental as we continue to develop. We'll keep sharing updates. Thanks for being part of our journey. It's the apology. The apology letter. Just go out there and say, oh, well, hey, that might have been a little tone deaf, whatever. I think it's kind of funny, especially because you're talking about what's going on with Stellar Blade and the censorship involved in that. There's a lot of jiggle physics in Stellar Blade, so it's quite humorous that this game, Farm Folks, is looking at the same things. Now we get some bad news. And here we have Square Enix expects more than $140 million loss next quarter as it abandons numerous projects in development. We all know Square Enix. They've been around for a long, long time. Final Fantasy is probably their flagship IP. It's been going on, since the 90s, I think. If I remember correctly, playing Final Fantasy, the original Final Fantasy was back in the 90s. I remember playing a Final Fantasy game on Game Boy back in the day, and the original 7, and, all these great classic games. And these guys have been at it for a long, long time. But, yeah, they're expecting that big loss, and they're abandoning numerous projects in the future. The company provided more details on the losses in light of the myriad changes underway in the environment surrounding its groups to revise the group's approach to development of high-definition games with the intention of being more selective and focused in the allocation of development resources. After a close examination of the group's development pipeline undertaken in keeping with this revised approach, the company expects to recognize approximately 22.1 billion yen in content abandonment losses on the books for the fiscal year ending March 2024, and that equals about 140.2 million American dollars. This is something that's been going on a lot in gaming lately, is the losses are just through the roof. It seems like every 2 weeks we see another studio is laying off hundreds of people, hundreds of developers, and so forth. They're closing down studios. They're bringing them in. They're canceling projects left and right. Big releases are losing money hand over fist, and I think we've reached a critical point in gaming. I think gaming is about to go into a type of recession of sorts where I think AAA games are about to take a big beating. And there's a lot of reasons for it. We'll talk about that in a second here. But yeah, if you want to read this again, I will go ahead and link this article in this video here. And last but not least, Sweet Baby Inc. influenced Alan Wake 2 still has not recouped its budget. So this story kind of goes along with the other stories here, and it kind of leads me to what I want to talk about next, which is gaming industry in general. But yeah, Remedy Entertainment, the developer behind Alan Wake 2, revealed Sweet Baby Inc. influence game has not recouped its budget. Remedy announced that Alan Wake 2 had sold 1.3 million units as of the beginning of February. The sales have continued with a high average price. At the end of the first quarter, the game had recouped a significant part of the development and marketing express, but it hasn't recouped everything yet. So, yeah, that's kind of rough. And, this is one of those games that I loved, the original Alan Wake. I had just played it recently, the remastered version of it. I was looking forward to this. And then I saw how they changed the main character, Alan Wake, into sharing time with this cop, the strong female black cop. And I was like, oh, why are we doing that? And then you find out like Sweet Baby Inc. was involved because it just, again, it's one of those things that just feels forced for diversity's sake. Like, why are we playing this character? Why can't we do the game from Alan Wake's viewpoint like we did the first game? The game is called Alan Wake. Alan Wake 2. It is not called Alan Wake and Black Female Cop 2. Right? So, yeah, that's that. So in any case, they're hoping that this game will have some legs and eventually it will recoup its money and all that. But my understanding in this industry is it seems like if you don't make your money back in short order, and it's kind of like that in the entertainment industry and movies too, like the opening week or opening 2 or 3 weeks, whatever, and then if you don't make your money, then you never really make your money because the drop off seems to be pretty quick. Movies leave theaters fairly rapidly, and games become obsolete as new games are released constantly, right? Not only that, but they get discounted a little bit later on. So a game that comes out at $70, 3 months, 4 months down the road could be $50, 6 months down the road, or 8 months down the road, it could be $40, 20, 30, whatever. It keeps dropping, and unless there's something to keep that game alive, whether it be DLC or season passes and all that, once it makes its initial money, it's pretty much done. It's going to drib and drab in through, throughout the time that the game is out there, but overall it's never going to be that huge. And, correct me if I'm wrong on that. Now, there are some games, of course, that have legs and will survive and will continue to make money. And I think a prime example of that is something like what is it, No Man's Sky, which started off as a really terrible game and everybody wanted refunds for it and all that. And now it's beloved by everyone, but they've done years and years. Oh God, what is it now? 8 years, I think. Yeah, 8 years of updates to it. Free updates, not a single microtransaction. The only thing that kept this game going was the goodwill of Hello Games and Sean Murray. And that studio, they kept this game alive and they kept it relevant. And it's a beloved game that everyone likes. So, there's that. But I think the gaming industry is in for a hard time right now. I think the cost of production has ballooned to ridiculous levels, and I don't know why. But it's going to have to pop. But I have some ideas. I have no idea how much companies like Black Girl Gamers or Sweet Baby Inc. charge to come on board and influence a game, right? Give their input and make a game more diverse and try to get those DEI points. I have no idea how much they charge for it. Is it $100,000? Is it $1 million? Is it $5 million? Whatever. But whatever it is, it's probably too much. It's probably money that would be better spent elsewhere on the game. Because as you see, their influence is toxic to the gaming community. No matter what their intentions originally were, whatever, nobody wants that crap forced on them, right? Nobody wants that. It's proven time and time again. The whole DEI detected website, and before that Sweet Baby Inc. detected on Steam, shows that people don't want it. The average gamer doesn't want it. Now, the average gaming journalist might appreciate it. The average developer, with their pronouns and all their mental disorders in their bio might appreciate it. But your average gamer doesn't want it. They don't care. None of us care. We want a good game. I think that's a big part of it. And there's other things too. It just seems like they're probably spending so much money. If they're wasting it on that, what else are they wasting it on? What's the culture like at these places? I remember when Elon Musk took over Twitter and how he trimmed the fat because it just was not making money, and the way the people were treated there with the food and the coffee and the way the offices and all, it was absolutely ridiculous. He trimmed the fat. He got rid of a lot of positions that didn't matter, that you didn't need. And I guarantee you there's so much fat in these development companies, at least these bigger ones. Smaller development teams, now you'll see them all the time, 10, 20 people on them, whatever. Those guys, they all have a purpose, and they're working hard. But I'm talking AAA gaming, the guys that come out with $70 games. So, and I think another problem is that, on top of whatever wasteful expenditures are going on there, games are expensive now. And our economy is in the toilet, right? the economy is awful. Gaming is a luxury, it's not a necessity. You need to pay your mortgage or your rent. You need to maintain your vehicle and put gas in it and insurance and all that, maintain your health. You need to put food on your table, pay for your electricity, pay for your phone, pay for your internet, your gas, whatever else. These are necessities. With everything rising in price and wages not going up accordingly, it's I think taking a toll on this industry, a big toll, because people don't have the income, the disposable income that they had, even just a few years ago. And I think the stimulus checks really gave a false boost to the gaming industry because, people were told to stay home. They were forced to stay home by their governments and all that. A lot of people just sat home, play video games, watch movies, whatever. If you're forced to sit home and they're paying you to stay home, why not, right? That's what they were doing. But then everybody had to go back to work. Everything went back to normal, and the gaming industry is really feeling the hit right now. But, so the high cost of games is definitely a factor in it. But if you don't charge that much, are you ever going to make your money back? The budget is the first thing that has to be looked at. They've got to figure out where to trim the fat, how to keep costs down. Are we paying too many big-time actors too much money to be in these things? Guys like your Keanu Reeves and Rosario Dawson and all that. Is that what it is? I don't know. I don't know. But by getting those costs down a little bit, you'd be able to sell less units to recoup your initial investment, especially at the $70 price point, which seems to be the AAA price point. But then the thing now is to offer a digital deluxe version that will give you a couple extra things, usually cosmetics. And sometimes now the new thing is 3 days early access or 5 days early access, something like that. Just a few days to get ahead of everybody else, right? And then there's usually the Ultimate Edition, let's call it. It can be called a few different things, Gold Edition, Ultimate Edition, whatever. That's the one that has the Season Pass. And that Season Pass consists of, anywhere from 2 to 4, whatever, DLCs that are going to be released over the next year or two for that game. And DLCs can be a lot of different stuff. They can be more storyline. They could be new settings, a new map, new items, new cosmetics, whatever. So then you got that ultimate pack. And then in other games like these live service games, you've got your battle passes, which come out every few months. And that keeps money generating constantly, right? But, it's this, I think we've reached this critical mass point where people cannot buy all the games they want. I know I can't. I don't have a lot of expenses and all that. I don't live lavishly. I've got the money to do things, but I'll never afford all the games I want, not at my current life. And not only that, I don't have the time for it. I think the market is absolutely flooded by games too. And there are so many games that are being released in broken, incomplete manner that a lot of people are getting nervous about buying games and pre-ordering games, right? You look at stuff like we mentioned earlier, No Man's Sky, how it was released so poorly. Now that one redeemed itself. Another game that was like that I was around for from the beginning was Cyberpunk 2077. They redeemed themselves as well. So that does happen from time to time. But for every one of those games, there's a Avengers or a Suicide Squad or, these other games, Forspoken, that just literally crap the bed, and it makes people wary. They say, well, God, do I really want to fork out that money, especially on a pre-order? Yeah, I'll get these cool cosmetics. Yeah, I'll get 3 days early access, but do I want to risk that money, especially on an unknown IP from an unknown company? And even known companies are screwing things up. Even known IPs that are highly regarded and loved by a fan base, and they can screw these things up constantly. So you look at these things, and that's frustrating. Then you look at something like what they're doing with Stellar Blade and the changing of what you get after you order it, and everything like that makes you realize that less and less you should pre-order games. Now, I'm guilty of doing it. I do it all the time. And more you should get physical copies of games. And I don't do that either. I have an entire digital collection of games for years now. I do not buy physical media anymore for games. If you look behind me, I got a ton of movies when I live stream. You'll see that. That's my 20 some year passion that I've had. But games, I don't like to do that. I don't like the physical media for games. And why do I like movies and not games? I don't know. I guess because games, a movie's a movie. When you buy a movie, you have the movie. You play the movie, you watch the movie. That movie is always going to be what it is. It's not going to get DLC. It's not going to get, extra scenes downloaded 6 months down the road. You're not going to watch it again in a year and it's going to have new characters in it or anything like that. The movie is what it is. But a video game, even if you buy the disc, you have to be online for it, right? You have to be online for the updates, for the day one patch, for the DLC that comes out, for the extra content, whatever. Everybody's PC is constantly online and everybody's console is constantly online. So you're always online with that. Why bother with a disc? And with what I do, sometimes I deal with 4 or 5 different games, in rapid succession during the day. I hate having to, push a disc out, put a new disc in, yada, 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 when I can just flip back and forth between them on my SSD drive, lickety split, and, film 3 videos for this one, flip over to that one to capture some footage for another video, and go back and forth. I can do that in no time. I don't have to worry about discs being out and a stack of discs and accidentally put the wrong one in the wrong box, or, the kid borrowed it because he wanted to play it on the PlayStation 4, and now I can't find it, or got scratched, it got dropped, whatever. It's always online. Now, but that's just me. That's my argument for that. But anyway, let me know what you think down below in the comments about the gaming industry. Do you think we're up for kind of the bubble bursting and in for some dark times here where, I think we are. I think we're going to see a lot of big studios trim the fat. I think we're going to see a lot of smaller studios kind of rise to the occasion maybe and put out good quality stuff at a fraction of the cost. And maybe that's what will help keep this industry alive. Who knows? But I think some of the major things, like I said, cut those budgets down and get rid of the DEI. It's not helping, guys. It really isn't helping. Who knows how many players, for every one guy that goes out there and speaks out against a game, and because of that, you probably have another 10 to 50 that don't say a word and just go, I'm not buying that game. That sounds stupid. Anyway, leave a comment down below. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel and ring that bell for notifications. I'll see you guys next time. Until then, peace.